February 3rd, 1943, 12:55 a.m., 100 miles south of Greenland. The North Atlantic is freezing. Water temperature, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Air temperature, 36 degrees. The USS Dorchester, a converted luxury liner, carries 904 souls. Soldiers, sailors, civilian workers. Heading to an American base in Greenland. They're almost there. Just 150 miles to go. Then in the darkness, a German U-boat fires. U-223. 3 torpedoes. 1 hits. The explosion tears through the engine room. Power goes out instantly. No distress signal, no flares. The ship begins to list. Water floods the lower decks. Panic erupts. Men scramble for the deck in total darkness. Many are trapped below. And on that deck, in the chaos, 4 men remain calm. 4 Army chaplains, a Methodist, a Catholic, a Rabbi, a Dutch Reformed minister. Lieutenant George Fox, Lieutenant John Washington, Lieutenant Alexander Goode, Lieutenant Clark Poling. 4 men of different faiths, who will prove that brotherhood transcends religion. In 20 minutes, the Dorchester will sink, and these 4 men will make a choice that will be remembered for 80 years. This is their story. Let me introduce you to these 4 men, because understanding who they were makes what they did even more powerful. George Fox was the oldest, 42 years old, a Methodist minister from Vermont. But this wasn't his first war. In 1917, at age 15, he lied about his age and joined the Marines. He served in World War I. He earned a Silver Star for rescuing a wounded soldier from a poison gas-filled battlefield. He earned the Croix de Guerre for bravery under artillery fire. He earned a Purple Heart for his wounds. After the war, he went home, became an accountant, started a family. But he felt called to ministry. He went back to school, was ordained. And when World War II came, he knew he had to go. His wife asked him why. He said, "I've got to go. I know from experience what our boys are about to face. They need me." George Fox knew war, and he chose to go back. John Washington was 32, a Catholic priest from Newark, New Jersey. He grew up poor, one of 9 children in an Irish immigrant family. As a kid, he was scrappy, tough, leader of a street gang, but he had a beautiful singing voice and a calling. He became a priest. When war came, he didn't hesitate. He enlisted to be with his boys, the young men of his parish who were going to war. He wanted to be there for them. Clark Poling was the youngest, 29 years old, a Dutch Reformed minister from Ohio. He came from a long line of ministers, 7 generations. When war came, he wanted to enlist, but not as a chaplain. "I'm not going to hide behind the church in some safe office," he told his father. His father, also a minister, replied, "Don't you know that chaplains have the highest mortality rate of all? You'll have the best chance to be killed." Clark thought about that. Then he said, "Just pray that I do my duty, that I'm never a coward, that I'm adequate." And he enlisted as a chaplain. Alexander Goode was 31, a rabbi, Jewish, from Brooklyn, New York, an athlete, a scholar, known for his laughter and love of life. He followed his father into the rabbinate, but he also joined the National Guard. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, he wanted to serve, to be there for Jewish soldiers who needed him. 4 men, 4 faiths, Methodist, Catholic, Rabbi, Dutch Reformed. They met at Camp Miles Standish in Massachusetts. Strangers at first, but they became friends, brothers. They were all assigned to the Dorchester. On January 23rd, 1943, the Dorchester left New York. Destination, Greenland. 904 people on board. 751 troops. Merchant seamen, civilian workers. The ship was crowded, cramped. Men sleeping in bunks stacked 4 high in the hold. Suffocating heat from the engines below. Fear everywhere. They were sailing through Torpedo Junction, the most dangerous waters in the Atlantic. German U-boats everywhere. The 4 chaplains moved among the men, talking, listening, comforting. They organized talent shows to keep morale up. They played cards with the soldiers. They prayed with them. Different faiths. But one mission: take care of these men. On February 2nd, One of the escort ships detected a submarine. The captain ordered all men to sleep in their clothes, life jackets on at all times. But many men ignored the order. In the stifling hold, the heat was unbearable. The life jackets were uncomfortable, and they were so close to Greenland now, just 150 miles. By morning, they'd have air cover. They'd be safe. The 4 chaplains circulated through the ship that night, checking on the men, offering reassurance. Father Washington's beautiful voice could be heard singing, Reverend Fox cracking jokes, Rabbi Goode sharing stories, Reverend Poling praying with the fearful. And then, at 12:55 a.m., everything changed. The torpedo hit, a massive explosion, the engine room destroyed, steam and ammonia gas filling the lower decks. Men killed instantly, power out, total darkness, panic, men trapped below deck, screaming, others stumbling up through the darkness. The ship listing hard to starboard, taking on water fast. The captain knew immediately. 20 minutes, maybe less. He gave the order, abandon ship, but there was no power for a distress signal, no flares launched. The 3 escort ships nearby in the darkness didn't know the Dorchester was sinking. They sailed on. On the deck, chaos reigned. Men fighting for lifeboats, searching desperately for life jackets. Many had left them below, in the heat. Now they needed them, and the water was 34 degrees. Without a life jacket, you'd have maybe 20 minutes before hypothermia killed you. The 4 chaplains moved into action. Calm in the chaos, they spread out across the deck, helping men find life jackets, helping the wounded, guiding the panicked toward lifeboats, praying with the terrified. And then the life jackets ran out. Men were still waiting. Young men. Boys, really. Terrified. One soldier, barely more than a boy, came up to one of the chaplains. "Padre, I've lost my life jacket. I can't swim." The chaplain didn't hesitate. He took off his own life jacket, put it on the boy. "Take this. I'm staying. I won't need it." The other 3 chaplains saw this, and without a word they did the same. Removed their life jackets, gave them to men who had none. 4 life jackets, 4 men saved, 4 chaplains condemned. Because they all knew, without a life jacket in 34-degree water, you die. But they gave them anyway. The ship was going down fast now. Lifeboats couldn't launch anymore. Men were jumping into the freezing Atlantic. The 4 chaplains stood on the slanting deck, and they did what they'd always done. They took care of their men. They moved among those still on board, offering comfort, offering prayers. And then as the ship began its final plunge, witnesses saw something extraordinary. The 4 chaplains came together. They linked arms, Methodist, Catholic, Rabbi, Dutch Reformed, brothers in faith, brothers in service, and they began to pray. Different prayers, different traditions, but one purpose: to comfort the men around them, to show them that even in death, they were not alone. Survivors in the water clinging to wreckage watched. They could see the 4 chaplains on the deck, arms linked, heads bowed, voices raised in prayer. And then the Dorchester slipped beneath the waves. 27 minutes after the torpedo hit, the 4 chaplains went down with her. In the freezing water, men struggled to survive. The Coast Guard cutter Comanche saw the flash of the explosion. It raced back. The Escanaba circled, searching for survivors. They employed a new rescue technique. Swimmers in wetsuits dove into the water, secured lines to victims, hauled them aboard. The Comanche saved 97 men. The Escanaba saved 133. Out of 904 aboard the Dorchester, 675 died, the worst single loss of American personnel in any convoy during World War II. Hundreds of bodies floated in the water, kept up by their life jackets that couldn't save them from hypothermia. But 4 of those who survived owed their lives to 4 chaplains who gave up their own jackets. 4 men who chose to die so others could live. When the news reached America, the nation was stunned. 4 chaplains, different faiths, united in sacrifice. The story spread. Newspapers across the country carried it. A Methodist, a Catholic, a Rabbi, and a Dutch Reformed minister. Arms linked, praying together, going down together. It became a symbol of brotherhood, of unity, of selfless sacrifice. In 1944, all four were posthumously awarded the Distinguished Service Cross and the Purple Heart. Congress tried to award them the Medal of Honor, but the strict guidelines wouldn't allow it. So in 1960, Congress created a special medal, the Four Chaplains Medal for Heroism, a one-time-only award, presented to their next of kin in 1961 by President Eisenhower. In 1948, the U.S. Post Office issued a commemorative stamp, highly unusual. Normally, stamps weren't issued until 10 years after someone's death, but the four chaplains were an exception. The stamp read, "These immortal chaplains, interfaith in action," because that's what they were. Proof that faith unites, not divides, that love transcends religion, that brotherhood is possible. Congress declared February 3rd as Four Chaplains Day. Every year, ceremonies are held in military bases, in churches, in synagogues, and temples, remembering four men who showed us what sacrifice means. Their legacy lives on. The Four Chaplains Memorial Foundation continues their work, promoting interfaith understanding and cooperation, encouraging service to others. There's a chapel at the Pentagon dedicated to them, memorials across the country, streets and schools named after them, because their story matters. In a world often divided by religion, they showed unity. In a moment of terror, they showed courage. In the face of death, they showed love. George Fox, who had already served in one war and came back for another. John Washington, the scrappy kid from Newark with the beautiful voice. Clark Poling, who wanted to be adequate and was so much more. Alexander Goode, the laughing rabbi who brought joy wherever he went. Four ordinary men who did something extraordinary, not because they were heroes, but because they were faithful, faithful to God, faithful to their calling, faithful to their men. One survivor said, "They were everywhere on that deck, helping everyone, calm when everyone else was panicking." Another said, "I saw them link arms, I heard them praying, and I knew everything would be okay." A third said, "They gave me my life, literally. One of them gave me his life jacket. I'm here because of him." Four men who believed that serving others was the highest calling, who believed that love was stronger than fear, who proved that when you link arms across differences, you can face anything, even death. Their story reminds us that faith is about action, not just words, that brotherhood requires sacrifice, that the greatest love is laying down your life for others. George Fox, John Washington, Alexander Goode, Clark Poling, the Four Chaplains, the immortal chaplains, who went down with their ship, arms linked, heads bowed, voices raised in prayer, showing us all what it means to serve. If this story moved you, please share it, because in a divided world, we need to remember the four chaplains, who showed us that what unites us is stronger than what divides us. Thank you for watching.